Hello and welcome back to the Catch-Up Corner.
Yeah, this is going to be an awesome episode.
Alright, so we are exiting out of Bad Movies Month, which I could not be more excited about.
She couldn't.
And we are entering into our Sci-Fi Month. So we talked a little bit about this at the end of the wrap-up. But just to reiterate, in case you didn't watch that one or you're starting fresh here, which if you are, welcome. So we had been trying to figure out exactly how to do this theme because this is a very broad topic. It's sci-fi. There's so many movies, so many TV shows that we could have done. What we started out by doing was brainstorming a list with our friend Connor. Connor helped us out a decent amount with this theme. And Benson originally wanted to do it by decade, which I really liked the idea of. Yeah. But then we sat down and we started putting all of the films and TV shows that we had into decades.
Yeah.
And some decades had too many, some decades didn't have enough. And eventually we just got to the point where we were about to say fuck it and respin. But we finally decided on doing themes. So some themes...
And even then that was tough.
Because some crisscross. That's the shitty part.
Yeah, so we did end up having to, cut some movies from the original list because they just didn't fit anywhere. Mm-hmm. Which we do actually have a theme called Literally No Theme because we couldn't figure out where else. But yeah, we couldn't figure out where else to put them. But they're movies that we did really want to talk about. Mm-hmm. So, for the themes... I did already put a post on our YouTube channel, so if you only follow on Spotify, check out that YouTube.
Or don't and be a loser.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But the themes are going to be early sci-fi, which we will be talking about today.
Yippee.
Aliens. We have the no theme. We have Men in Black, which has to be a theme on its own because there are 4 movies and a TV show.
And it technically still falls into Aliens, so do with that as you will.
We have remakes. Kids movies, dystopian, and Stranger Things gets its own category.
Topical. Very topical.
So, I don't have a ton of background in sci-fi, but do you want to talk about yours a little bit?
I mean, it really started with Star Wars. I think that was the earliest example that I can think of. I can't think of any other early example, but Star Wars was my first big one into sci-fi, action,
Popcorn flick type of shit. First big one. And I don't think I really cared too much, or not cared, I guess, but delved too much into sci-fi until high school, because Star Wars was my shit, and that's all I really watched. I'm sure there's some TV shows. Twilight Zone episodes in English class in middle school, because why not? As always, there were plenty. And then college class writing, funnily enough, had more Twilight Zone episodes. They were never accessible, a lot of the movies I wanted to watch. And I was also a baby back bitch, so the alien sci-fi horror stuff was not my thing in high school for a while. Mm-hmm. But I got into things like Terminator because of Connor, which I have been dying to do for a while. And then it wasn't until college I really cared about sci-fi in a broader scope than your typical stuff like Star Wars, Iron Giant, E.T., like the big ones. I started delving finally into things like Blade Runner and Alien and Space Odyssey and a lot more. There's a countless amount that I could think about, honestly. Mm-hmm. But I've really found my favorites in history, not just for sci-fi but film, through sci-fi and the sci-fi class that I took in college. It's had the best ones, but it's also had the most boring ones, Avatar, that I could watch. And it really opened my eyes on how diverse sci-fi is and how much of a long way it's come since the original conception of film and sci-fi, which oddly enough goes hand in hand with one of the things we're going to talk about today, because it technically is sci-fi, the earliest example of film, other than the horse still frame image or the recording of the horse racing, which is another integral pivot point to another sci-fi movie on here.
Yeah, it is.
So,
it's a really... Actually, that really surprises me that you didn't have a ton of sci-fi experience before high school.
It was fantasy and Pokemon.
That's fair. I don't know.
Avatar.
I just feel like sci-fi is yes, you love fantasy and that's one of your top genres, but I don't know. I feel like the genre I associate you the most with is sci-fi.
Why the hell is that?
I don't know. It's your nerdy vibe.
What the fuck? Oh, so I'm nerdy one way and not the other?
Yeah.
That's wild.
No, you are.
That's
like, you're
wild.
very fantastical, but I feel like sci-fi seems like it would speak more to you than fantasy.
And why is that?
Maybe because you're the one that's introduced me to the sci-fi that I have watched, but I don't know.
I've introduced you to fantasy, though, too.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just seems like sci-fi would be more your style.
We'll get to the bottom.
That's not a bad
We'll
thing.
get to the bottom of this by the end of this podcast month. But yeah, again, and I'm sure there's also been stuff that's dabbled in sci-fi lightly in TV shows. Whether it's references to stuff like Back to the Future. Back to the Future was a huge one when I was a kid too. Actually, that's a good sci-fi flick. And I guess you can call it sci-fi because, time travel, sci-fi and all that. Again, it's a broad scope sci-fi. Time travel doesn't entirely make it sci-fi, but also, in a way it does. But if you travel to, medieval times, is it more of a sci-fi fantasy cross-up, or is it more fantasy? It's dependent on how you use time travel, I guess, and technology. I guess that's the biggest thing as well as the technology behind it, because a lot of sci-fi does have futuristic technology to some degree. I guess that's the most pivotal thing I could say about sci-fi is the tech. Science fiction. There's aliens, obviously. There's space and sentient robots, which is not far off anymore. But there's an fantastical element to it in its own way that is reminiscent of fantasy fiction. But it's in a future setting more than anything.
Yeah,
it's fascinating, and it always somehow comes back to technology in some way.
Yeah, it's an interesting genre because I feel like all sci-fi is fantasy, but not all fantasy is sci-fi.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a really interesting genre to delve into because it is really about the technology. Because there are some movies that we've already watched so far that I'm like, it's so interesting that this is considered sci-fi, but I kind of see it.
But it is exploring realms beyond ours that makes it sci-fi. Using technology beyond our own comprehension to explore things that may or may not be there, or deal with things that may not be in the future. That's the biggest thing, is what we do. A lot of sci-fi takes place in the future, or an alternate future not so far away in some cases. 2025 was a huge thing back in the day. Air Defense Force, a video game I saw, has a iteration of fighting insect aliens in 2025.
Oh, that's so weird.
That came out in the Xbox 360 era nearly 2 decades ago.
Oh, weird.
So do with that as you will. Do with that as you will. But I got nothing else. That's been my sci-fi journey. Surprisingly, bit more heavy set in the college years, but it had its start because of the classics like Star Wars, which you've already talked about, so it's excluded from this month, obviously.
Yes.
That's its own theme.
Yes.
And that's the tough part, because a lot of sci-fi crosses over with other themes, so it's hard to narrow it down. And there's probably going to be part 2s and 3s of this theme down the line.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
For sure.
I mean, I feel like you can't have, a whole genre theme like this and not have, multiple parts.
You can't rip it off the wheel.
Yeah.
So, like Star Wars or Jim Henson,
Oh, Jim Henson's coming back to the wheel anyway, because there's so many Jim Henson things to talk about.
That's also fair.
Okay, first of all, we have to say this is the last time that we will be using this specific notebook.
Yeah, the cat fucked it up.
My cat spilled Sprite on it, so...
He likes bubbles.
He likes bubbles.
He does not have a vagina.
She did. No, but my notebook does.
Oh, she has a vagina. Okay, sorry.
So, notebook is dead.
Yeah.
Cat is not, because I still love him even though he's a little shit.
Okay, yeah. But anyways, let's begin at the very beginning. The early dawn of film. The feature film of the time, A Trip to the Moon, 1902. Except it wasn't a feature film. It was 15 minutes.
It was 15 minutes,
Which was
and
featured
I
back
watched
then.
it twice.
Wow.
So I watched it twice because this is a film made in 1902. It was a silent film, and it was actually released in both color and black and white. However, something that I learned from watching the colored version is actually the colored version was lost for years.
Yes, it was.
And then they finally found a way to re-release it in color. And I watched it in both just to see how different it was. And, like, obviously the content wasn't different, but, like, the style was. And I thought it was really, really interesting.
Yeah. It's a fascinating thing. So, okay, this is going to be the easiest one. What do you think?
Actually, I feel like this is going to be the second easiest one because there's one that I don't have a lot to say about.
I'm afraid to ask, actually. What is this one, then?
This one I thought was really, really fun. Because, like, the idea of silent films to me, obviously, like, this is where media started.
Charlie
it started
Chaplin was
out
phenomenal.
as silent because, you know, they didn't have the technology that we do.
The audio, yeah.
Yeah. So, getting to, like, watch the very beginning of sci-fi and see, like, where things started out.
I mean, not just sci-fi, film, keep in mind.
Yes.
Some of the earliest examples of film. I would rather talk about this than the Ku Klux Klan film decades down the road that revolutionized big battles. But it's historic because it's some of the biggest examples of film and set pieces and decent editing, you know? There's a lot of firsts for a trip to the moon that even if it didn't do it first, it did it well enough to be popularized and talked about now.
Oh yeah, I wrote right there. It's so cool to see the foundation of not only sci-fi films, but films as a whole. So I
Yeah.
did touch on that in
And
my
it,
notes.
and it's iconic because one of the biggest iconic moments
Is when the ship lands in the moon's eye. That's literally an icon to this day that you see everywhere, and you may not know where it's from, but it's referencing a trip to the moon.
Yeah.
That's the best part about it. So
I thought it was like it was also like a little funny. There was a little bit of like the comedy aspect in there with like the ship flying into the moon's eye.
oh, it's over dramatic because it's literally theater. Like this
Right.
is literally theater filmed.
And it's supposed to be. It's one of those things that you need to watch. Like I don't think that this generation's going to appreciate it.
No.
Because you need to watch the whole thing. If you look away, if you blink for a second, like you miss really important details. And it's only a 15-minute movie.
Yeah. It is.
So you really have to be paying attention the entire time. As far as whether or not I preferred the use of color versus the black and white, I think I prefer the color.
That's interesting.
So the black and white, it's really like in the color version, it's really muted, and then it almost looks like the color is like drawn on with chalk.
I mean, they
As
muddled
like
it, yeah.
almost an afterthought.
I mean, I was gonna say that was the early days, so yeah,
Yeah.
they totally did that as the thing. You're not far off.
But no, but
It's
I
like watercolor almost.
Yeah, watercolor, but it looked almost like chalk.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I thought something about that was just kind of charming. Like it
Yeah,
did
that's
look
fair.
it did look like an afterthought, like, hey, maybe we should try to add color into this.
Which
But-
wasn't done for years later.
No, I think it added to the humor and to the charm of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But the set itself, there are so many different textures, so many usages of texture as well. Like the backdrop does look like it's on a stage, and it's just like a backdrop
Yep.
of stage, and like it looks like the whole background is like hand drawn, and it also kind of looks like some of the actors are hand drawn into there as well. So it's really cool to see like where we started from the very beginning, and I don't think
holds up.
it does hold up.
I don't want to be that person. I'm just saying it holds up better than a lot of films now. And it was a 15-minute silent film with very rough, archaic editing and filming with not a lot of movement because there wasn't a lot of the dollies and stands that we're used to now that we take for granted in film.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Wasn't a lot of moving shit. So, this was huge.
Yeah, I
This-
liked it a lot.
This was good. There's not much to talk about with this one. 'Cause
No, it's hard.
It set the foundation though for sci-fi because it was one of the big instances you could feel like in this century where people really started to dabble with the idea of exploring the moon,
Mm-hmm.
and then we started getting into the idea of aliens even more, like some life beyond Earth, I should say. Like I'm sure in older times there are encounters that could be described as alien, but the wording and the theming wasn't there until the start of film, I feel like, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
At least not as prominently. So, which brings us to the next one, unless you have anything to say.
Nope.
What is the next one?
I watched Invasion of the Body Snatchers next.
Yup. Yup. Here we go.
This is an interesting one because this also is what sci-fi is about, in my opinion. So it's about aliens that come from Earth, and they are basically. You want to describe this actually? Since you watched it.
You watched it too.
Yeah, you go ahead. This is your first iteration. Let's see what you took away from this, sister.
I've actually watched this before.
Oh, the original?
You watched it with me.
Oh my god,
we watched it during Halloween months.
Oh, yeah. So long ago.
Yeah. But this is about, first of all, this doctor guy. We open up with him coming back into town after being gone for so long. And he's starting to see that people are acting differently than what he remembers. And at first he chalks it up to just being gone for so long. Mm-hmm. But the more he hears other people talk, the more he is seeing for himself, the more he realizes that something is really wrong here. Mm-hmm. Because people that he has known his entire life are acting differently. And he and the other people that he is talking to no longer feel the same. They don't feel that human connection that they once felt with these people. And that's like a dead giveaway because like you can't fake emotion.
Yep, and that's a huge thing sci-fi tackles a lot, whether it's alien or especially robots and AI.
And so the more like we go on, the more we're realizing that things are replacing humans.
And it's through pods, because they are a essentially liquidized type of alien that are gathering forms by draining the essence of those sleeping and catching them in their sleep to drain their essence and eventually replace/kill them off until they eventually dominate the Earth. So, is that all you want to talk about for that, how the plot goes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we could say more, but I'm trying to be like basic.
So let's get into the biggest thing about this, communism. So this is an allegory for communism and the Red Scare at the time, in the biggest sense of the word, because this is a sci-fi film, but it dabbles into horror elements in a way, because how would you feel if your neighbor was replaced by a strange creature? Or if your neighbor suddenly became motionless or acted differently to the point it's almost psychotic behavior.
But it's not even just neighbors either.
It's people.
It's
but
people.
You start to notice your neighbors, though. Like, it's the people at your home, the ones you're supposed to know and love the most. Especially because back then, it's not like now where your neighbor will flip you off for saying hi. Back then, neighbors and being a part of a community physically was such a huge thing. And imagine that dynamic being turned on its goddamn head because of aliens. There are horror elements here, and it dabbles into what if sci-fi was not just sci-fi exploration, but other things like sci-fi fantasy crossover sometimes, sci-fi horror, sci-fi comedy. And the biggest thing is that sci-fi can be a vessel for themes that relate to the current day that can then happen in the future without warning, because sci-fi can sometimes feel like a warning in a way. Even Star Wars has that in some ways too, that we noticed. This is a warning for communism and the Red Scare. It literally, like, imagine your neighbors suddenly changed and they are no longer the person you know. That's what the Red Scare was. You couldn't trust anybody because of the threat of communism and Soviet Russia at the time. It all perked together at the end when, the aliens are moving on a grand scale and our main character is yelling on the road, yelling, "You're next." And he yells directly into the camera looking at you. Like, they're not trying to hide it by that ending. That ending is not just an alien thing, that just suddenly directs to the audience. And at the time, it was incredibly effective. And even now, it's still the most iconic scene for that. And it's a really good movie. It's not shot the best, and I feel like it's boring in some parts, and drags a little, but overall, it's a damn good product still that is very effective at treating sci-fi as a vessel for many messages. What are your thoughts?
I really enjoyed this. This is probably my second favorite of this bunch.
Oh, it's good. It's damn good.
Yeah, it was entertaining. There's some romance in there. There's
which makes it worse.
Suspense. Oh my gosh, you're just not a romance person.
No, I mean literally makes it worse because his lover is an alien.
Yeah, well at the end.
Yeah.
Which also, like, another big theme of this, like, if you fall asleep, that is what makes you turn into one of these beings.
Yeah, you turn a blind eye to communism, you become a communist, essentially.
And, like, spoiler, she does fall asleep towards the end.
She's a communist.
And then he you know.
Play the Stalin theme, ladies and gentlemen. But no, yeah, it's good. It's a good film, and it doesn't have a lot of good movement that you come to expect with films, but it's still got some decent set pieces in there.
Yeah, I mean, I again really just enjoyed first of all, black and white movies. Something about them, if they're done well, they're so charming to me.
Yeah.
But, like, even then, the story, I loved the storytelling. I loved the build-up, the atmosphere, the presence, the romance, the suspense. It's all there. It's all super entertaining. And for a film made in the 1950s, I think it was phenomenal.
I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Again, there's some moments where I look and I go, okay. But I feel like it's a lot of early films, though. I mean, It Came From Hell. But then again, that was a boring film in its own right, though.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like there were some moments I look at this where, like, it dragged a little in the middle, but not enough for me to wear it down where it's like, I can't not love this film. Mm-hmm. I love this film still. It's a damn good film that has an interesting message to say and does it very effectively for the early times. And again, it's something you can't see. You don't see the aliens unless they have a familiar physical form, so
yeah,
it's brilliant in that regard.
I mean, all we see are the pods.
Yes, and they're horrifying. They look something like literally straight out of like a deep jungle of a huge cockroach.
Ew.
It's true. I'm just saying. It's a damn good film in that regard, and I think it still holds up to this day, and it's always going to be a timeless film. It is just priceless in that regard.
Wow, but we do have to talk about that every movie from this decade needed some kind of like moral at the end of the story.
Yes.
And they do kind of
never trust a communist as their moral.
Yeah, but like the fact that towards the end it's very like blatant, it's more tell, not show.
It is. But like they weren't trying to hide it though. This was fair. Like everything was used as propaganda against a scare that really wasn't bad in that time. That's the big thing. Like a lot of mainstream films and media and production companies and newspapers were fueled for the Red Scare, and if you did not speak out against it, then you were seen as communist, and you would be put on a list, or worse, kicked out of America. So that's the biggest thing, is that this was a huge thing. Like, they were subliminal for a while, but that's what makes the pointing out so horrifying back then, because it is relatable. It is blatant. It's not trying to hide it anymore, and it's going to tell you you're next, and it's keeping you on your toes. It's like a familiar episode of Twilight Zone in that regard. The monsters and all that shit on, what's the street name? That Maple Street. That's the one I watched in middle school, the first Twilight Zone episode I ever watched. But, like, it's blatant, yes, but it's effective because it isn't trying to teach a big moral. It's trying to scare you into conformity and snitching on people that probably aren't even communist. They're just different from you. It's ruining differences. So, while the message is blatant compared to other early films, I'd say it's effective because it's not trying to teach you a lesson, it's trying to tell you something. And it's telling you stay on high alert. That's not teaching. Teaching is like, wow, I can't believe I learned how to tie my shoe from this Martian. This is just, you will be fucked.
I mean, I'm talking more about the like blatant tell of like, we are nothing without love, and we are nothing without like emotions and feeling.
Oh, that's
which,
who
like,
I guess.
is obviously true, and communism is the major point of this movie. Those are also like smaller themes. And it's very, very obvious in the last 10 minutes of this movie.
I can't argue with that, actually. But, I mean, this is an era where sound was huge and over-dramatic. It still was the theater acting in a way, you know? You were getting used to sound. The mics weren't that great where we could audio edit shit. Like, you had to be over-dramatic still, even with sound. So, I get it. But also, in a way, I don't think it takes it away from me in this era, because at least it isn't blatantly, like, oh my god, eye-rolling as other films.
Fair.
It's a purpose, still.
Fair.
It's still a purpose, and in a way, you're putting yourself in the character's shoes of being hopeful in a time where everything's upside down. Holding on to that last bit of sanity. So, that's my take on that.
Until she falls asleep and she's made into an alien.
She becomes Stalin himself.
Don't think she does.
Her face conforms to a mustache, and he goes, "Papa will be disappointed in you."
Oh boy.
And they take him away. The end.
I don't think that happens.
I'm very tempted to play into the bit and start playing the USSR
Absolutely
theme.
Not.
Damn it.
No.
Okay. I got nothing else to say about this film. I loved it. It's still a good time.
Yeah.
Fantastic time all around.
I think it definitely, it holds up.
It's one of the earliest big examples of feature film, finally, shying away from the 15 minutes of Trip to the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, there's nothing glaring. There's little things here and there, but I digress. Which brings us to the next big 1950s horror film of the time, or sci-fi film, horror film combination of the time, The Blob.
The Blob. This one was my least favorite.
I'm
sorry.
No, I gotta see it. Okay.
First of all, I think there's something we can learn from this group of movies. You can't trust the police with sci-fi shit.
Yeah, you're right. That's the only realistic part of a sci-fi film. You can't trust the police for shit.
They go to the police about this weird, crazy shit, and they almost get locked in a loony bin.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. You just don't we know better.
You can't trust the police for shit. That's the only realistic part of these films.
There is a part. Okay, so I forget where I watched this. but I think it was on
Tubi,
Max.
Oh, it was
No,
Max.
I'm pretty sure it was Max. And there is a part in here, like, where they were talking, and the lips were not in sync. Like,
I don't know if it was a Max thing or...
And the voices, like, didn't fit the characters.
I kind of want to rent this on YouTube to see if it's still there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Max, but let me double check.
I feel like it's like...
yeah, it was Max.
I feel like, I don't know if that's a Max thing or a Blob thing that I never noticed, but I kind of want to get a DVD and see now.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get a DVD.
we definitely can, but, like, that was... Yeah. Anyway, we should probably explain what this is about.
Go ahead, honey.
We didn't do that. No, it's your turn. I did the last two.
Alien Blob comes down to Earth and starts eating everything and everyone, consuming the world. That's all you get. You can fill in the blanks, honey.
Well, see, that's the problem with this. This is manufactured as, you know, a movie about a blob. I feel like we don't really see the blob. I would have liked more time with the blob.
This was ambitious for the time. This is like, even for like this era. I mean, you look at these eras and like there's limited costume design set. This was ambitious, honestly, in my opinion, for a sci-fi film. I mean, instead of an alien you can prosthetically make up, you're using a literal gelatin. It's not a giant ant or spider you put on a small set. It's not Godzilla, which is a person in a costume. This is like a gelatinous fucking alien right here.
Yeah. I know, and I don't know. I just feel like I didn't personally connect with any of the characters.
Oh no. That's honestly agreeable.
Is like a huge thing for me, obviously. We talked about that before.
Yep.
The setting was pretty cool. Like I wasn't like really mad about the town that everything was shot in. I appreciated that it was in color. That was pretty cool for a 1958 movie.
Yeah.
Which like I had to like go through and see if they like remastered it to be in color, but no, it was actually filmed in color, which
it's not bad for color, honestly. Yeah. And I feel like it does the Blob a service in that way.
Yeah.
I
I know. I feel like it wouldn't have worked in black and white.
No, I feel like this is one of those ones where if it was black and white, it loses all integrity. You need to see the colors and horrifyingness of its digestion and the monster itself to really feel the fear. Otherwise, it's, black and white Play-Doh scrolling across the screen. The end. So I guess in that regard for this era, yeah, you kind of need the color for this, honestly.
Yeah, and it also this is another one that has a lot of tell and not show.
Yep.
Like towards the end.
Global warming.
Well, yes. But also towards the end when they are setting the diner on fire. We don't actually see the fire.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We just get told, oh, we just blew up the diner and they're still inside in the basement. We don't, that's literally it. We don't even see, there's no lighting to suggest
I don't know if it was a budget constraint or what.
Yeah, there's no lighting to, suggest that there is fire in front of all these people. They're standing 10 feet away from this building.
I don't know if this is a budget constraint, actually.
Yeah.
I know this film is, I think it had a troubled history for a while. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know if it was. I could be speaking out of my ass, but I swore I remember researching this for a class. And I don't think the production went as they wanted.
Well, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I mean,
this was ambitious.
It is super ambitious. And this is why I think I have the least to say about this one. This is going to be a shorter episode than I thought.
Because global warming. That one of the earlier instances of global warming, in my opinion, in film.
I don't think this
you gotta
was...
respect it.
I don't think this was a bad movie like some of the other global warming movies
Birdemic.
that we've talked about on this podcast.
Birdemic.
But I do think it reached too high.
Because the main point is, in this one, the alien is frozen.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot stand the cold. And then they're like, let's put it in Antarctica. But then they're like, wait, Antarctica could melt because of global warming. So that's the biggest draw. Forget anything about communism. I forget I guess this might be a spoiler for the remake. Did they mention this was an alien experiment during the Cold War?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. So this is just a straight up alien. That's great. Hey, so yeah, spoilers I guess for the remake. But this is a straight up alien if I remember correctly. So there's no other plot to it other than it's an alien from outer space, if I'm remembering right.
We don't get a ton of backstory with it. We don't even get a ton of camera time, which I would have liked. If you don't know, my favorite D&D monster is a gelatinous cube. Mm-hmm. So, realistically, I should love this movie.
I gotta be honest with you. This is one of the ones where I think the remake is better than the original.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Oh, the remake for the Blob is so disgusting and horrifying. It's so good. But we'll get there when we get there. As for this one, it's a decent monster flick. It's a decent sci-fi monster flick. Mm-hmm. Really horned in. I do agree with this one where it's horned in at the end. The whole global warming shit at the end.
That sounds right.
There's nothing else otherwise. This is where I feel like it falls into the category of the time of what did we learn today. But I'll give it props for being one of the earlier examples of global warming in media. Mm-hmm. I'll give it props for that.
I did appreciate. I also I know I said I didn't really connect with any of the characters, but I did appreciate. So we get towards the beginning a group of what are supposed to be teenage, early adults characters, mm-hmm. and at first they come off as kind of asshole characters, blah 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 blah, but they really do show up. I feel like they do become they are good guys, and I feel that's a little bit of a breath of fresh air compared to some movies like this where just the characters are just pure assholes.
Agreed. I do agree with that. But, again, it's hard to connect other than that, Nothing really sticks out for this one, honestly, in regards to characters, which is wild considering the remake does something really fun at the time that I won't spoil.
Oh, I'm so excited. So we will be talking about the remakes for the Blob and Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh, Body Snatchers.
Later in the month.
Body Snatchers is a tough one. I feel like the remake is just as good, if not better, in some regards. They really up the ante with the aliens, especially.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh, I think you'll love both remakes. I think you'll really love both remakes. But the Blob, I feel like all of your gripes from before are answered in this one. And it amps it up to 10 with its newfound practical effects.
Oh, I'm excited.
But it's, for what it's worth, the early practical effects, they were ambitious for a sci-fi film like this, and I'll give it its props, but it's still an okay film at the end of the day. Again, I feel like I agree where this is, like, of the bunch, my least favorite, but it's like a 6 or 7 out of 10 instead of, like, being something like the other ones where it's like an 8 or a 9. Like, even for its short runtime, I feel like I had more time with the characters in Trip to the Moon and Getting the World than the Blob's longer runtime.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like for this, it was the more disappointing of the bunch as well, which for me, arguably, is even worse than a bad movie.
Agreed.
Because you're expecting something. With a lot of the bad movies that we watched in February, I was expecting nothing.
Yeah. She really wasn't.
So when you have a movie that you have expectations for, like The Blob, because it's similar to one of my favorite monsters, it can be pretty disappointing when you're not getting what you expect.
Which is going to be great because this is going to make you wish the Gelatinous Q was never your favorite monster again. The remake.
Oh, great!
Oh, I can't wait for you. I want to say my favorite part, but I can't because it's technically a spoiler for horror movies. I feel like from that time.
Oh.
Yeah. Can I say it?
No.
Ugh.
No.
Ugh.
We will get there when we get there.
Fine. All right. I got nothing else for the Blob then. That was easy.
No, me neither.
So
the last thing we are going to talk about is actually a TV show, and I didn't get to watch as much of it as I wanted.
There's a lot of episodes though. I really would be surprised if you got even a quarter of the way through the show.
I wanted to so bad though because this was my favorite of this bunch.
Yes, it is.
So Benson has already alluded to it a couple of times.
And that was not on purpose.
But we are also talking about the Twilight Zone.
Oh.
The Twilight Zone is a TV show. We are talking about the original, obviously, with early sci-fi. I know there has been a couple of iterations.
Jordan Peele included, who is also making an appearance this month. But, it's an anthology series.
It is. It's which we know how I feel about anthology series. I want to love them. I don't always love them.
Yeah.
But we're having actually a good time with the anthology series for this podcast.
Very good.
So maybe I like anthology series more in TV shows than I do in books, which is really interesting.
I mean, again, Jim Henson, 2-banger anthology series there. Star Wars, Visions, and now this. So it's a collection of stories, and they are all described as wacky things that, whether it's in the far future or not so far future, where something strange is going on, and it's an alternate world where everything is purgatory in a way, and there's no real happy ending. But there is a lesson to be learned going into the era of learn your lesson. But this earns it so much.
I love this show so much. I only got to watch 12 episodes.
You didn't get to watch To Serve Man, did you?
No.
Oh. I mean, you've watched some other episodes throughout your life. The Monsters on Maple Street, I feel like, was a staple in middle schools.
I don't think I ever watched that one.
What?
I mean, I might have, but I don't remember it.
It was like another example of hysteria and humanity's flaws being so easy to manipulate and draw into hysteria.
Oh.
Like, it's such a good film because literally everyone thinks after seeing someone see something in the sky when power goes out that someone is like a murderer / alien or monster, and they're accusing each other, and it just descends into madness. And it's like the opposite effect of, the Body Snatchers, where come together to defeat the differences. This is stomp out the differences and accuse everybody at every turn. It doesn't matter if it's too late or not. It probably already is. Like, there's there's still time or else you're next. We're already fucked. Just start going after each other. It does a lot with so little, and it's so good. But that's one example. There are things like To Serve Man, where Martians come down to Earth. Do you know this episode?
No.
They come down to Earth, and they're like, we're here to serve man. And they start sending people on faraway ships and feeding them delicious foods. And then, on the grand expedition for many humans, it's revealed as our main character goes on the ship, someone comes, I forget the woman's name, she comes up and is like, I read the book, it's not a instruction on how to serve humanity, it's a cookbook. And they drag the humans on the ship,
oh my gosh.
and the guy is refusing to eat, and they're like, one way or another, you're gonna be eaten. and the guy basically stares at the camera and gives a solemn message before caving into his dying hunger and realizing his fate and eats the food ravenously.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's fucked. There's an episode on a gremlin on a plane, which is so fucking good. But I digress. I could go on and on about this, and every episode feels mostly unique.
Yeah, I agree, and that's one of my favorite things about it is I don't think there was a single episode where I was like, okay, let's move on to the next one. I mean, again, I only watched 12, but still,
It's tough.
Even with an anthology series, especially like an anthology series that is so
Well versed.
old.
I mean, that too, yes.
Like you would have figured that I would have at least heard some iteration of these kind of stories repeated like in recent years, and I don't think I have.
What was your favorite?
Oh my goodness, that's such a good question. There were so many.
I was going to say, what was your favorite of the bunch if you have to pick one? There's some also
So
post-war nuclear vibe episodes to this too, which, sitting in the world we're in now, with World War III on the brink more than ever with the whole Iran invasions and everything, it feels very relatable, and it's horrifying. And it's honestly wild how far our early sci-fi has become into not being sci-fi, despite countless warnings of this future. Thanks. Thanks, everybody. Especially you, America. You piece of shit. But
Oh my gosh, I can't even answer this question.
Really?
I was so entertained by so many of them,
it's iconic.
and like so shocked
Like,
by
okay,
a lot of them too. Like
highlight a few, yeah.
when the sky was opened, I really
Oh.
liked that one.
Oh,
It's about like the 3 astronauts who return from space, and then weird things start happening where like it makes it seem like they weren't meant to return, so now everybody is forgetting about them. It's so cool, so interesting, and like the twist was fun.
there's some trippy
I
episodes.
love that one.
It's funny because it twists a lot of classic sci-fi tropes in an era where it wasn't that well versed / that old to begin with on their head in a span of like 30 minutes in some regards.
Or like Perchance to Dream.
Chance to Dream is a crazy one.
So good, where like this guy is terrified of falling asleep because he keeps dreaming that he's going to die.
Which is kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers in a way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Like, you sleep, you die. Not alien-wise, but you sleep, you die.
But you know what? You know what's one I connected to
Oh, no.
the most?
What?
Time Enough to Last. At last.
Oh, boy.
Because this man just wants to read his fucking books.
I knew you would. How did I fucking guess?
It's about this guy, and literally everybody is telling him, like, he can't read at work, he can't read at home because his wife doesn't believe in reading, and
Wow.
he just wants to sit down and enjoy his books. And I'm like looking at Benson, and I'm like, if you ever take away my books,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to have some serious talks.
Murder.
And then something happens where he gets caught in like this nuclear blast, and everybody around him is gone. He's the only one, and he's like, finally, peace and quiet, and I can just read. And then the poor guy breaks his glasses, and now he can't see, so he can't read. Oh my god, it was
It's almost comical
it was-
sometimes, the
no,
twist like that.
no, it was
Like-
no, that
like
that
every-
was not funny.
There are some really good batshit twists, but then there's batshit comical endings where you can't help but laugh a little, like
But it's
that
not
one,
funny.
where it's like, oh,
It's
man.
traumatic.
But, like, nothing's more funny than being stuck in the slightest bit of purgatory as a human.
I don't think it's funny though. Poor
But-
guy just wanted to read.
There's some other good ones in there. Oh my god, I could go on. Again, everything feels so different. I don't think there's many, if any, sequels to many of these at all.
Oh, I don't know about that.
What do you mean?
I said I don't know about that.
To Serve Man had a sequel in the Jordan Peele anthology, but I could be wrong when I say I don't think there. Let me know in the comments. I'm probably wrong. I don't think there was many sequels to the classic ones, and if there was, they were very few and far between. Everything felt somewhat original to its own regard, and then also, like I said, twisted it. And again, on a lot of these where there wasn't much of a budget, they did the best with the most space they could have.
Oh yeah, I loved this so much. I cannot wait to watch more. I'm hoping to watch more and let y'all know what I think. Like in the wrap up, we can touch upon it at that point.
Yeah.
But I am obsessed with this show right now.
What is the best part about these episodes, like, continuously across this sci-fi series? What makes this sci-fi series so sci-fi and fun to you?
I think the originality, like I said, even today, like where I would be sure to have seen at least some of these recycled, like yes, they use now, like what are now pretty common sci-fi tropes, but it does it in a way that's like intriguing and it keeps me invested. And again, my feelings on anthologies are usually pretty mixed, leaning towards like bad side because like I don't care that much. If you don't know my feelings on anthologies, like if you didn't happen to watch the episode of Star Wars where I talked about it, my feelings are usually I really really want to love anthologies, but for me the beginnings of a story are the hardest part for me to get into. It takes me like at least a chapter or two into a book, and so when I am starting an anthology collection and I am finally getting into a story, that story ends and now I have to restart all over. So it's very rare that I enjoy an anthology collection front
you could have fooled
like,
me with
start
this
to end.
podcast.
I know, but I think I'm finding that it's different in TV shows.
Agree.
Like I do still think that like TV shows like this, or like TV shows like The Muppet Show, where like it's not a consistent linear storyline, like I'm less likely to watch all in one sitting.
Yeah.
But I do think I am enjoying like more anthologies, movie and TV show wise, than I am book wise. Although there are a couple of like short story collections that I did love start to finish. Like some I'm gonna shout out right now, All These Sunken Souls, which is a black horror anthology. And Never Whistle at Night, which is an indigenous horror anthology.
Yeah. You've told me about those. I have to read those.
So good.
I gotta get back to reading.
I want you to read Never Whistle at Night.
Bet. But back to this show. I think it's the best example of early sci-fi that dates all the way back to A Trip to the Moon with the limited technology and what they made. They made the most with the spaces that they could not have. But if they had it today, they would absolutely go bananas. Like, I feel like we take for granted even the smallest details, like audio mixing, to the degree that we have. Back then, it really was simple cut, clean, with some edits in between, and maybe get some good audio stuff here and there, but it really wasn't the technology that we have as crisp as we do today. It wasn't as big, and I feel like this entire episode of early sci-fi shows that sci-fi, honestly, if any of these flopped at any point, in my opinion, and didn't become the icons they do today, I know there are other sci-fi films and shows and pieces of media throughout history, especially books, that began to divert as well from this. If any of these failed, especially Trip to the Moon, as it was such a brave, bold new way to entertain things, if anything failed, I don't think we would have sci-fi as it is today. Like, genuinely. Like, this shows that you do not need to be in grand space operas or have grand scale invasions to settle a point across. Sometimes it could be a discrete invasion, like with the Body Snatchers. Sometimes it can be nuclear fallout in a twisted world, or astronauts returning from space and discovering what the hell is going on in weird time, paranormal type stuff, or abnormal shit, I should say, not paranormal. Like, the Twilight Zone especially highlights that you do not need a big budget, or you do not need the modern technology we have today to go create something memorable. It's about how you use that scope. And while sci-fi is a pretty grand scope, as we're going to find out this month, I think we can look back at Twilight Zone, especially of the four, and say that it took the most risks and it paid off amazingly. And it's a series that is being replicated for decades and decades. And while not to the extent of the original, I still think it has its charms. But the original will always reign supreme. And there's so many episodes I feel like we could talk about, but we'll get there eventually in the wrap-up, I'm sure. I'm honestly surprised you only managed to squeeze in 12.
I know, because I was watching so much of it, but then we started pre-watching for others.
Yeah. And, like, it sucks because this is a damn bulky series. Like, I wish I gave a map tutorial like I did with, like, Jim Henson Month of, like, all right, or like Star Wars, where it's like, all right, here's this. Actually, it was more Jim Henson month, I think. I did this, but I gave you a map of highlighted episodes for anthology stuff, and went, all right, here's this. Here's your highlights. Go have fun. You know, I wish I did that for this because there's so many damn good ones. Like To Serve Man. I forget the name of the episode, but like The Beauty is Skin Deep, I think is called. It's like a very interesting episode about beauty standards, which is fucking wild. Again, Monsters Are Due on Maple Street is one of the most iconic movies, I feel like, or episodes for a lot of middle schoolers, or maybe it was just my middle school English class. Who knows? It probably was. Mrs. Miller was fucking wild. I love her for that. But I feel like there's a lot of episodes that we could have gone over. But the 12 that you have definitely fit the bill, it feels like. Even if we didn't talk the specifics of every single one, I feel like it's a grand brush stroke where it can be like everything is still original still. And if we did talk about each episode, we would be here a fucking while.
Yeah, we'd be here for a long time. It would have to have its own episode.
Yeah, which sucks because I feel like this could have had its own episode.
It could have had its own episode.
But we had a hard time theming.
I know.
And I regret it immediately.
I know.
But, yeah, I don't have anything else to say about Twilight Zone. Do you?
I have all the things to say about the Twilight Zone.
Okay, say a couple more.
No, it's okay.
Do you want to say more?
No.
Okay, final wrap-up thoughts on this entire early sci-fi. This is the basically founding father of the sci-fi genre for film that we're going to see spread throughout into the next few projects. What did you think?
It's interesting. So this is what we were talking about towards the beginning, where not all of these feel like sci-fi at first. Mm-hmm. Like they very much, like the two movies that we discussed, definitely feel more horror. But then you kind of realize that sometimes horror and sci-fi go hand in hand.
They mix a lot more than people think.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is interesting because we're going to see a couple of movies in here at least that really like draw that line between sci-fi and fantasy, and then sci-fi and horror. It's it's gonna be really interesting and fun to see. But as far as these first 4 films, I think we have a really fun road ahead, and it was really fun to see where everything started.
It's a lot of telling instead of showing in regards to themes, but 2 of the 3 that did it really earned it, though, which is impressive. Mm-hmm. Because, again, if any of these flopped, and I'm sure there were other products that may have... Not products. I sound like a McDonald's CEO. I've been watching that shit nonstop. It's kind of wild. That guy's an alien on his own. You can't convince me otherwise.
I just sent Benson. Somebody made a remix song.
It's in my head. That's been in my head all day, honestly. But any of these pieces of media that are also around that time that were also a part of the sci-fi movement could have stepped up, and maybe we're in maybe be in a different timeline where it'd be a different discussion if these flopped and those rose to the occasion. But we're in this timeline, and I think this is the best case scenario where sci-fi really dominates, because we got to see everything under the sun when it comes to taking what people really saw as basic, at least in today's standards, basic sci-fi of alien, cookie cutter alien, robot, future nuclear war type stuff. We are now seeing it start to spin on its head and even relate some warning messages as if they're products from the literal future, sending a message to humanity of the present, warning them to be careful and avoid these roads ahead, or else they'll end up like the people in the movie. It's very fascinating, because that is a common thing with sci-fi, is warning messages like we talked about before. Mm-hmm. So, it's going to be a fun road ahead.
I'm excited.
I can't wait for you to shit your pants at some of these. It's going to be fun. Speaking of which, what's next?
Aliens.
Yippee!
Yay,
Not the sequel.
Nope, no.
Not the sequel to Alien.
That is our theme of the month, so obviously we could just watch the Alien movies, but we are watching 3 different movies that involve...
Very interesting different ways to approach it.
Yeah, so we have Alien, obviously, which is a movie that I said I would never watch.
Except she did.
Except I did.
I was there with her.
And then we have Battlestar Galactica,
Oh.
which I have actually started. I have not finished it yet.
Oh, Battlestar Galactica.
And then we have one of Benson's favorite alien movies of all time.
Not just Alien.
One of Benson's favorite sci-fi movies of all
Top
time.
5 movie all time.
Really?
Top 5, top 6. It's definitely top 10.
Interesting.
Yup. This was a phenomenal movie.
Nope.
What do you mean, nope? It's an opinion.
Nope.
What the fuck? I get it, because the movie title is called Nope for all of you viewers out there that do not understand. So we are making a nice little play on words with the word nope and the title Nope by making it seem like she is disagreeing with me. And if you did not understand the joke, that's okay. You're stupid. Anyway. I'm excited. I got a lot to say, especially because Alien is also one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes.
I can't wait. It's going to be a great time.
So I am really excited for this theme. Oh, something else that I forgot to mention. While this month is mostly going to be just Benson and I, we do have a couple of returning people that want to come hang out with us for I almost said Star Wars month, for sci-fi.
Yeah,
month.
they had a lot. When we told them the theme, they already wanted to pick movies. Like, we sat in the parking lot of a bowling place, and we're picking themes. Like, I wish we were kidding.
Yeah, so we do have someone joining us for Stranger Things, and then we do have somebody joining us for our no-theme theme.
Oh, I'm excited for that one, because him and I are going to have a lot to say. Especially me.
Which I am excited about. And then, I don't know, maybe Connor will join us for one.
He will. He certainly will.
But thank you for hanging out with us in the Ketchup Corner. We love you, and we'll see you later.
Live long
Bye.
and prosper. That's Star Trek.